Yeah, like there's so many things you can do now. Like you don't have to be an agent. You don't have to be a mortgage broker. Like look into I would just say like watch videos and read a little bit. Like what about real estate interests you, right? Like do sales and high pressure environments and stuff like that interest you, or does managing tenants and buildings, does that interest you? There's so many different routes you can go, right? Like do you want to raise capital and buy stuff? Do you want to just sell these things and then eventually buy them on your own? Do you want to manage them? It's like I would just say really nail down what about real estate you like and why you're doing it. Because if you're just doing it for the money, everybody says it's very cliche, but like you are going to burn out. That's just reality of it. You're going to burn out. You're not going to have fun. When something bad happens, you're going to throw your phone at the wall. Like it's. So just, yeah, be honest with yourself about it and understand what it is you like.
Welcome to another episode of the Logger and Listing Podcast. I'm your host, Kurt Warner. And this week we have the pleasure of having a realtor, somebody that I've known for roughly a year, Justin. And Justin has been in real estate since he was 21 years old. And over the course of his time as an agent has closed over $100 million in transactions. Justin deals specifically in the space of multi-residential and development land. Being an investor of multi-residential himself, he uses his vast knowledge of past deals and personal experiences to guide and advise his clients with their own purchases in order to maximize returns and build generational wealth. So, Justin, welcome to Logger and Listings Podcast.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about your background?
Yeah. So, like you read, like I got into real estate at about 21. I actually went to school for firefighting right out of high school. So I went to Alberta for a few months and got all trained up and certified as a firefighter. I came back to Ottawa and just realized that stuff wasn't really for me. I looked into the military, did some aptitude tests and stuff like that, physical tests, and then again realized, hey, not really my thing. And I fell into real estate, and I think kind of like everybody, when they first get started, you're kind of doing everything you can to make a little bit of money. It's all commission based, and you have expenses and stuff like that. And fortunately, my parents are very supportive, so they were helping me out quite a bit. But yeah, just doing everything I could to get some money to get going, and yeah.
So, what was it about real estate that made you interested in that in the first place?
Yeah, so my girlfriend at the time, we would always watch $1 Million Listing in New York. And
Great show.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah, like you'd be good at that. I'm like, oh, maybe. And like I never wanted to watch it before. I had no idea. I was like, I'm not like into like shows and stuff. Like I don't really watch TV like that. But yeah, I ended up watching. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I looked into my license. I think I did it. So I was working part-time at Moore's, the suit shop, and kind of studying while I was there, while it was dead, studying when I got home. And I just wanted to, you know me pretty well at this point. And like, I'm kind of a guy that just likes to get stuff done. So I just crushed that in like 4 or 5, maybe 6 months, I think. Did all the courses, and then just dove in. Like I had a friend of mine, Jared Floyd. He introduced me to a couple of guys, and I started working for them.
Okay. So the first brokerage that you worked at, was it in Ottawa or was it outside of there?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Ottawa in the East End. And yeah, so I was with Remax Core for about a week after I got my license. And then the guys said, hey, we're moving to EXP. And I'm like, I'm a new agent. I'm like, okay, cool, man. Like, I don't know what it is. Don't really care. Like, I just want to sell stuff. So we went to EXP. I was there for a few years. That group kind of went in different directions. I partnered with other people and went to different groups and whatever. And then I ended up so I was doing commercial before that, about a year before. I think I started commercial sales in 2019. And then in 2020, I was introduced to a commercial brokerage called Coble here in Ottawa. And they're a smaller boutique commercial brokerage. And I went there for about a year, and then back to EXP and started Anzar Group with my partner Jack, who I think you've had a few conversations with as well. So
Yes, I have. And when you started off as a realtor, because I'm sure, there might be people on here that might be debating, that are listening, debating, getting their license. How long did it take you to actually get your first deal done as an agent?
I can't remember. I think 2 or 3 months, maybe, which
Okay,
I
so
think,
not too bad.
yeah, I think that's fairly quick. Like, we have a full office of agents out here behind me. And I think, so my buddy Arthur is out here, and he just got licensed. I think it took him 4 months. So
Okay.
I think like that 4 to 6 month is probably pretty standard.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, if
what
you're doing
was it?
So,
Like, you also invest in real estate, and that's one thing that I hope other investors don't take for granted, and also realtors. Like, as an investor myself, I always love the fact of working with an agent or a mortgage broker or anybody that's like, yeah, I have a few properties as well, I'm trying to build my portfolio, because then there's that understanding of what you're trying to accomplish as an investor, and not just
yeah.
taking it from the side of just being an agent or a broker. So how did you get into investing yourself, and what types of real estate do you focus on from the investment side?
Yeah. So kind of a funny story. So when I started doing commercial stuff in 2019, like I just cold call everybody. I emails, text messages, like whatever, however, or whatever I could do to get in contact with people. I was like, I just need to do it. So I ended up getting a hold of a guy. He had 8 brand new townhomes kind of attached in the east end of Ottawa where I live, like in
Mm-hmm.
Orleans. So I drive by them all the time. And I can't remember exactly how, but I ended up connecting with the guy. And he was actually going into foreclosure
Mm-hmm.
for that property. So I'm like newer at the time. I think I'm a year in at this point. And like I'm talking to the guy. He's like, yeah, I'll let you sell it. Like, I'll give you the listing, but we have to do it this way. And he pulls out a piece of paper and he's like, here's the property. Sale has to go to me, then you, the money, and then the bank. And I'm like, okay, like, yeah, man, like, cool, whatever, right? Like, let's do it. And now I know, with the knowledge I have now, like, even if I would have sold that property, it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have gone anywhere. I would have lost the commission out. Like, the bank already had a hold of it. But I ended up getting it on MLS and putting it on Kijiji and, all these like CoStar, whatever, all these other places. And I started getting leads in from that. And at the time, like, had no idea what I was talking about. So I remember being on calls with some of these guys. They're asking me questions and I'm Googling what's a cap rate, like while I'm on the phone with these guys. So like, what is this, or how to calculate net operating income or whatever, right? But it's funny, one of the first guys that called me on that, he's out of Toronto, and
Mm-hmm.
he's become a good friend. I work with his entire family and friends as well. He's actually an agent out there, predominantly an investor now. But yeah, like we've done a lot of business together, and that kind of sparked my interest more and more in multifamily. This is kind of when Grant Cardone started really being like in your face on the internet too. And I remember this guy, Danny, who was a lead, like he had to send me bank statements and proof of funds for a deal one time. And I remember looking, I'm like, these guys are making crazy money. Like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to do that. So, yeah, like at the beginning, it just started like, okay, I'm interested in multifamily because I see it. It seems like a safe investment where you can still make, in some cases, astronomical returns. And I want to get around people who are doing this. So, naturally, the best way to do that is to start selling that kind of stuff and learning about it. So that's what I did. Just started reading, watching videos, talking to clients, and not letting the ego get in the way. Like a lot of, not just agents, but I think people in general have a hard time with asking their clients something because they want to be known as the guy that knows everything, but you never will. Like, I learn from you all the time. Every time we talk, I learn from you, and I'm sure you learn from
I
me
learned
too.
from you. Yeah,
Like,
no,
yeah.
absolutely.
So
I think that's a very important lesson. Like, there's one thing I think in any business, not just in real estate, is you have to learn to put your ego aside.
yeah,
You have to be willing to be open, because the more open you are, and it could be the smallest thing that I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. I'm going to add that to my business. I'm going to add that to
yeah,
what I do as a strategy. Like even before we got on talking about, okay, I'm going to send you the recording. You're like, oh, I'll have my marketing team chop it up into TikTok and everything
Yeah.
for the podcast. I'm like, I haven't done that yet, but that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
So it's small things like that's the I think important thing about relationships. And I think one thing that our listeners should know, like we've known each other for roughly a year, I
Yeah.
think, but we haven't done a deal together. We've tried, but just haven't completed one. But one thing that I was talking to a friend of mine and, kind of telling him about you, like, but you guys haven't done a deal together. I'm like, no, it's weird. But, I know Justin will, send me stuff that he thinks will fit, and I'll happily promote him. If it's not for us, I'll put it out on social. I'll do whatever, just trying to help out.
Yeah.
So which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, man, exactly. And like, it's one of those things where we get along, which is good, but it's like eventually we'll find something, and when it's the right time for you, then and the right deal comes up, great. Like a lot of people will try and push deals on their clients or whatever, and it's like you're just going to ruin the relationship. You're going to seem like a pushy sales guy, and like why would you put your client into something that they're not even fully comfortable with? And even if you get an offer accepted, it's going to be 30, 60, 90 days due diligence, whatever, just for them to come back and say, hey, like from the beginning, this is not what I wanted, so let's scrap it, right? I think it's important to be very targeted with the kind of deals that you send each client. So,
and I think it also shows the difference between maybe, a realtor like yourself that is established, has built a lot of relationships, has a good track record, understands the business, that sees the long game. Like you're not just in this for, okay, I just want to do one deal with this person and that's it. No. You're probably looking at it, I want to build as long as this person's investing and looking at properties or buying properties or selling properties, I want to be the person that they reach out to that builds that trust.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've talked clients out of deals which would have given me insane commissions before, right? And at the end of the day, like if somebody wants to buy something and they have their mind and heart set on it, and no matter what your recommendation is, they want to buy it, well then okay, like I'm not gonna tell you as an investor, you obviously have a game plan, you know what you want to do. I'm just giving you my opinion on it. If you at the end of the day, it's my job to get you that property if that's what you want. But you're right, like a lot of people will just try and they don't think about the long game or the consequences of just pushing something on someone. Like these are large deals. This is like there's a lot of money at stake, and sometimes there's other people's money at stake if you're raising capital. So if you screw up that, then you're not screwing up one person. You're effectively, there's a whole line of people that are going to be affected by it. And for what, couple $100,000, $100,000, $50,000, whatever it is. So
no, absolutely. So how do you find it? Has it been a challenge to balance, being an investor and being an agent?
No, because I think the way we've approached it is a little bit different than other people. Like if we find a deal, then great. I have the option if I want to look at buying that, but we don't hoard every deal for ourselves. And in fact, most of the time, like I would say 99% of the time, we actually open it up to invest alongside our clients. So like it's a win-win for everybody. But it's not like I'll find a deal and every deal I find, I'm like, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. Like at the end of the day, I love what I do and I love helping other people build wealth. Like it excites me. So, yeah, we like to kind of spread the opportunities for everyone.
Yeah. I remember I was on with, actually last night, on a webinar with another investor, Rob Lemontang, not the other Rob, the other Rob and he was talking about leverage and using it in creative finance strategy. But he was saying that if you have 100,000 and you're looking at, not that this happens anywhere other than maybe some places in the US, $100,000 property, and you can put $100,000 in that one. How many deals can you do? One. Yeah. If you have that same 100,000, but you find 10 properties, you can put 10,000 in. Now you're in 10 properties and you have greater cash flow. So it's very nice to leverage your time, but also leverage your financial resources well and get into multiple deals. So that strategy on your guys' part to say, okay, every once in a while we'll have one for ourselves, but we'll help our clients, and every once in a while we'll help our clients and maybe invest alongside with them as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And like we've always established from the beginning that if this is a deal that we want to invest alongside you, I'm not going to force you to do it, but this is something I would like to do. And we're very fortunate that we have that relationship with a lot of our clients where you can say, hey, like, I'm willing to put this much in. Are you willing to have me be part of this? And we always establish our value to this as well. Like, I don't want to just say, hey, I'm putting money in and you figure it out. Like, that's why we started the management portion of Anzar Group as well, was to be able to provide that value. Because I'm sure, as an investor, sometimes it can be very difficult to find well-priced and smoothly run management companies. So we said, you know what, like, we've already got this trust with the clients. Like, we have the systems in place for our own properties. If they want to have us manage it, then we're happy to do that for them, right? Like, it's not an obligation, but they know how we work and they know the way we run things, and it's been going well so far. So
this is now essentially the third stream of income that you guys have as entrepreneurs. You have your brokerage, you are obviously investing as well, and now your property management side. How long ago did you start the property management side?
I want to say it was really recent, like really just in the summer with two of my business partners, because like just with us alone, it was 70 units, different ownership structures and some land and stuff like that. But it was like, hey, like, I can't find anyone that's charging me less than $150 to go move a fridge. Like, can we figure this out? So yeah, we ended up just chatting, and it really started by just like, hey, let's do our own thing. And like I said, like, clients started saying, hey, like, do you guys know who I could use for property management? And like, here's the thing too, like, if we think we can't take it on, like, I'll refer it to friends who have property management companies. Like, if I think I'm not the guy for it, then why am I going to sit here and tell you, yeah, I am, for a very small management fee? Like, it doesn't make sense, right? So if we think we can do it, we know we're the right group for the job, we'll do it. If not, there's really one or two other guys in the city here that I'm comfortable saying, hey, I've worked with these guys personally. They've managed some of my earlier properties and I know what they can do.
So what drives you? Like, obviously you've had, a lot of success in everything that you're doing. And for some people, that entrepreneurs, you push and push and push and get to a certain level, and then you kind of flatline, where it's just, you maintain what you have instead of, getting up every day, pushing, driving to do more, to grow more. So what is it that really motivates and drives you?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's quite a few things, I think. Well, I'll tell you the main two. Like, one is just, I'm around very hyper successful people every day, and they drive me, they inspire me. And I'm like, as I learn more about economics and future retirement, like, I'm only 27, I'll be 28 this year, but like, it's never too early, I think, to start thinking about retirement and like how you want to shape your life and all these things. But I see the way these guys are living, I'm like I want to be there and surpass that. So that's one driving kind of motivational, inspirational factor. But it's also like my family, right? Like my parents, it's funny, even my dog, like, like I want to give my dog a huge backyard. Like, there's charitable things that I want to do in the future. And there's material things I want, and like, just to be able to give my entire family everything and kind of show them gratitude for them being so supportive of me, because it's not easy. There's a lot of sacrifice, but I think that's like the main thing, right? And people sometimes don't understand that. They think, oh, you just want material things, or you want to do this, or you want to do that. Yeah, like, I enjoy those things, I have no shame in saying it, but it's really the freedom aspect of it too, right? Like, I want to be able to do what I want when I want, and not really answer to people. And you can't give back to the charity that you want to give back to without any money, right? Like, like, it's,
Absolutely.
world is revolved around money. It's just the reality of what it is. So
where do you see you guys taking your business in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
Yeah.
Have you guys
So
talked about that and mapped it out?
yeah, so for the brokerage side, like we don't do deals just in Ottawa. We do stuff out in Pembroke, Toronto, Mississauga, like everywhere. Halifax, Nova Scotia, Edmonton, Calgary, whatever. So our goal right now is to bring on agents in those markets strategically. Like if you have, it doesn't mean you have to know everything, but if you have the drive and the willingness to learn, then we want to talk to you, we want to work with you. So we actually just hired on a killer agent out of Toronto who's going to be helping us up there. We brought on a girl from Maryland who's going to be helping us up there, and we're in talks with a couple of groups from Miami as well as Los Angeles, because when you deal with the institutions and the buyers that we're dealing with, even if they're private, you're not just limited to the Ottawa market or even the Canadian market, right? Like these guys understand and have invested in other markets and they want to go there, and we've built that trust, and we need to establish I guess roots in these areas where our clients are investing so we can kind of help out everywhere. So
you're also looking at expanding to US, like from the US expansion standpoint, are you mostly focused on like larger cities, or are you looking at markets that, show more potential, show more growth, more cash flow?
To be honest, right now, it's just where are our clients already investing and where do they want to go? Because for example, like we have a couple of clients here who have buildings in New Jersey, New York, Houston, Florida, Baltimore, Maryland area. So for us, it's okay, we already have the clientele for that market and we have the opportunities, but we can't really service them that well because one, I'm not going to pretend I know every minor detail of the market over there like I do here. So it's important to partner with people that understand those areas and can actually service the clients. So I would say right now we're not really targeted on bigger cities or opportunistic stuff. It's where do we have the clientele to service? And then once we have that, then we can expand, because effectively once we go to Florida, well, now we're going to have clients that are investing in Florida, but also maybe Texas, right? Or somewhere else. Okay, now we can go there. So we want to be very slow and methodical about it, but also urgent. Like I'm not gonna wait 15 years to get in there,
You don't want to be like 55 and then like, okay, we've opened up Florida for the first time.
Yeah. But to be like, we've talked about this, like, I don't want to, like, I want to get the right people in place to be able to do what Jack and I do on a daily basis. And we're very fortunate that we have a very strong team behind us. Like I think we're a group of 10 just in the brokerage now. And like our admin and our lead gen guys are killer. Like that's the thing, like all the people that work with us, all of our employees, they all treat the company as if it's their own. And that's kind of the culture and the vibe, I guess we want to bring to the group.
That's awesome. And, we've talked a lot about brokerage, property management, and you as an investor. So for anybody that wants to get a hold of you, either as a realtor to help them find properties, or if they have properties they want to have them managed, or they're looking to partner with you guys from an investment standpoint, what are some of the best ways they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, so either you can send us an email. There's info@anzargroup.com. There's Justin@anzargroup.com. Or even by phone. Like if you go to anzargroup.com, all of our contact info is there for everybody. We love talking to people and just chatting. If we don't do a deal, like you said, we've known each other about a year and we haven't done a deal, but we talk very often. So like we like talking and helping people where we can.
And then I assume you guys are also all over social media as well.
Yeah. So our Instagram is that's a good question here. Let me tell you right now. I think
we will put it in the description as well.
Yeah, like my personal Instagram is just my name, and then I think it's Anzar_group for the business page. But yeah, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that stuff. But yeah, I'll send you all the stuff we could put in the bio.
Awesome. And so what advice would you give to somebody, obviously being 27, like you're very young, I'm old, You make me
You're
feel
not
old.
that old.
But what advice would you give to somebody that is maybe, 19, 20, trying to figure out what they want to do? They have an interest in real estate, but not really sure what the next step should be. What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, like there's so many things you can do now. Like you don't have to be an agent. You don't have to be a mortgage broker. Like look into, I would just say like watch videos and read a little bit. Like what about real estate interests you, right? Like do sales and high pressure environments and stuff like that interest you? Or does, managing tenants and buildings, does that interest you? There's so many different routes you can go, right? Like do you want to raise capital and buy stuff? Do you want to just sell these things and then eventually buy them on your own? Do you want to manage properties? Like I would just say really nail down what about real estate you like and why you're doing it. Because if you're just doing it for the money, everybody says it's very cliche, but like you are going to burn out. That's just the reality of it. You're going to burn out. You're not going to have fun. When something bad happens, you're going to throw your phone at the wall. Like it's, so just, yeah, be honest with yourself about it and understand what it is you like.
I think that's critical. Especially in this day and age, you said there's so many opportunities, within real estate that you can get into. And even if it's to the point of being just a content creator on real estate, like there's so many opportunities out there. And, I think that people really need to focus on, not the money, as you said, because that motivation dies pretty quickly, especially when you get to a level where you've hit that financial goal. Then they're like, well, I'm good. And that's it. Right. And that's not fun. So I think, yeah, definitely figuring out your why is very important. So the other question I had for you, and just a couple more.
Yeah, of course.
If you were to look back, right, is there any piece of advice you would give yourself when you started real estate at 21 based on the knowledge you've gained over the past 6 years?
Yeah, I would say partner with the right people in kind of all aspects. And it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning, like your ego, right? Like at the beginning of my career, I would let emotions and ego kind of drive me and kill deals just because I think someone else is not doing something right. But now you kind of have to, you got to look back and say, okay, like what is the goal of this? Like what outcome do I want to achieve? And yeah, just don't let emotions and ego kind of cloud your judgment. I think those would be the biggest ones. And the partner, right? Like make sure you're partnering with the right people and don't just jump into something because you want to jump into it. And, like we talked about, I'm a very fast-paced, urgent person, but I'm learning to slow down a little bit, think about things a little bit more methodically. Does this make sense? Or is there a better way, right? Like, is there it doesn't always have to be a shorter way, but what's the most efficient way to the goal?
I think that also comes with obviously experience, but also some age as well. And, the fact that you have business partners that I assume that they've been in, real estate a little bit longer. So you're getting an opportunity to, learn from them, learn from their mistakes as well. So that also speeds up your learning curve and your process of, developing and getting to where you want to be.
100%, man. Like, don't be greedy about it, right? Like if you're gonna, quote unquote, eat shit on a deal, like think about the knowledge and the value and the experience that you're going to get just from that. Like don't be worried about a couple grand or whatever it is, right? Like what you're going to learn from these experiences are much more valuable in the long run.
And I think that's also the mindset of any entrepreneur is you will go through the eat shit stage of being an entrepreneur, whether you're in real estate or anything else. And that's just how it is. And you gotta, push through.
No avoiding it.
Yeah. You have to look at the long term. Yeah, you have to look at the long term. Like, what do you want to be, or where do you want to be in 5-10 years? And as you said, is giving up a couple grand on a deal to learn something. What value does that bring to you in 5 years if you either A, never make that mistake again, or B, take that as a lesson on how to do things a little bit better, maybe more efficient, work with the right people, partner with the right people. So that's awesome. And the final two questions I have for you are interesting. And I'm going to ask you, what is the best deal that you've been a part of? Like the one that you're like, when it closed, you're like, oh, I can't believe I was part of that deal.
Probably the most recent one, which was in early November of 2022. It was the largest deal that I've done to date. And we were all equal partners on it. It was a $6.5 million deal. Our appraisal came in, I won't say an exact number, but well above. And our after repair value came even more well above, which was so it was nice to it kind of opened me up to, like we talked about, like another level and expanded, like, oh my God, like we can do this, like we can keep doing stuff like this. And not without its challenges, but that would be the one. And even before that, like on a smaller scale, just we had a crazy return, a crazy refinance, a ton of equity built in, and those two kind of changed the course of my life.
And then what about the one deal that maybe you learned a lot from but didn't end so well, but taught you a lot of lessons?
Yeah. So the one that we just did in November, it's like I just told you, it turned out great. And I was like, oh my God, this is insane. But a lot of lessons came out of that one. And I think years and years of experience. That one was kind of a double-edged sword, where it was like, okay, it's a very good deal, but we learned a lot about what to do and what not to do. Because when you go from, effectively it's the same thing, whether you're managing 5 or 6 or 12 or 20 units and all the way up, it's the same thing, but just on different scales. But each deal is different. And I know it doesn't directly answer your question, but every single deal I've done, good or bad, whether I've sold it or bought it, I learn a lot. Like every day I'm learning. So I would kind of leave it open like that.
Okay. And final question for you. And I've been asking this of people I've speaking with lately, because somebody that one of my good friends that's a life coach mentor asked me these 2 questions just before we got into the new year, and I thought they were great. And the first one is, looking back at 2022, if you could use one word to describe that year for you, what would that one word be?
Oof. I gotta think back. I want to say maybe exciting.
Okay.
It was a very exciting year, very challenging year, but I broke through to kind of new levels and new areas in my life, and did things I didn't, think I could originally, or not didn't think I could do, but like kind of didn't think I would get there as quickly. And yeah, it kind of got me excited for the future and what is possible. So.
Now, as we are in the first month of 2023, if you could use one word, like if we were have the same conversation a year from now, and I were to say, okay, reflect back in 2023, what's that one word? What would you want that one word to be for 2023 for you?
Ooh, that's deep. Let me think about that one. I think challenging, not in a bad way. Like I think sometimes people can associate the word challenging with negativity or negative things, but I don't think that, like, the more I do and achieve, the more challenging it is. And if that's what it takes to get to where I want to be, then so be it. Like, I think I welcome the challenges.
Okay, awesome. Well, Justin, thank you very much for being a guest in Logger and Listings. Looking forward to continuing working with you, continue to get to know you. And again, anybody listening to this, reach out to Justin if you are looking for, realtor, property manager, or somebody maybe to invest alongside. Highly recommend reaching out to him. His contact details will be below. And until the next episode, cheers. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Logger and Listings podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to leave a like, comment, or even better yet, share it with other aspiring investors and entrepreneurs. Your support helps this podcast grow organically, and in turn helps other investors and entrepreneurs grow their businesses and have fun along the way. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.